Hello and welcome to your yoga class this week. Well done for making it to another video. This is class number 2 in the series of yoga for stress relief. So if you did manage to do last week's class, this class will follow a similar format. We'll start with a breathing exercise that helps to calm the mind. Then we'll stand up and do some grounding poses. And then we'll make our way into some nice hip openers, which, as you might remember from last week, opening up the hips is a great way to release stress. As always, you might need some yoga blocks or cushions for when we're sitting on the mat. So make sure that you are nice and cozy, that you won't be interrupted, and just get ready to spend the next 70 minutes doing some nice calming yoga. We're beginning today with a nice simple breathing exercise, so you can find the best way for you to sit on the mat. And this is quite a nice exercise because it's very simple and it's something that you can do at any stage throughout the day whenever you start to feel like you're getting a little bit frazzled or overwhelmed, which we all do, especially these days. And the idea is just to make your exhale longer than your inhale. So we're going to start breathing in for the count of 4 and then breathing out for the count of 8. Now, if you want to, you can breathe in through your nostrils and out through your mouth. And also, if that count doesn't suit you, if you feel that it's making you feel uncomfortable, then of course, just adjust it to suit you. Make sure that your exhale is longer than your inhale. So let's get started. Sitting nice and comfortably. Lengthening your spine as much as you can, relaxing your shoulders, loosening up your jaw, and now making your facial muscles soft. We have lots of tiny muscles around our face, so take time to visit each one of them and just smooth them all out. Before we move into our breathing exercise, just take a breath in, notice it as it comes into your body. Take a long breath out. Take a few more breaths like that, signaling to your body and your mind that it's yoga time and it has permission to relax. Now let's incorporate that breathing exercise. Breathing in through your nose for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, exhale. Keep going for a few more rounds at your own count. If your mind has started to wander away, that is completely normal. As soon as you notice yourself engaged in some thoughts, just gently close the door on those thoughts if you can, and focus on counting your breath. Just a few more rounds here. In your own time, you can return to a normal breath, breathing whatever way your body wants to breathe. Yoga is all about observation, so we'll take a moment here and all you have to do is observe, maybe following the journey of your breath in and out, or just take note of what thoughts are coming in. Notice how your body feels. Maybe starting to uncover some peaceful energy, some calm, healing energy that you have within you. And just trying to foster a relationship to it. And maybe letting it take over a bit more than your thinking mind. We'll take one more big breath in together. Fill up your entire body and then open your mouth to exhale, gently opening up the eyes again. We'll move into some yoga poses now. So when we move, we kind of disturb this nice energy that we've created. But our goal today will be to keep coming back to it. So I'll keep giving you some reminders to drop inwards. And remember, it's not about how the pose looks. We're always just focusing on how you're feeling. So don't put any pressure on yourself. Not that we're doing anything too difficult, but remember, it's all about what's happening internally. So we'll start with child's pose. This is a nice grounding pose, so again, it's a nice way to release stress. If you can just take a few minutes in child's pose, it does have a lot of benefits. You can have your knees together, or you can take them wider apart. Then your hands can reach towards the front of your mat, or they can come back to rest next to your feet. You can also sit on a cushion or yoga block here if you need to. Bring your forehead down to the mat if it will go. If not, place it on yoga block, cushion, or onto your hands. And allow yourself some time to wiggle around and to adjust until you've found a nice place to rest. Find your breath wherever it is in your body and observe it on its journey in and out, noticing how it feels different now. And now just try drop inwards again, connecting to that peaceful energy you have within you, closing the door on thoughts, and just observing for the next few moments here in child's pose. If your awareness has gone somewhere other than your yoga mat, that's okay. Take it back for your last breath cycle. Now push your finger pads into the mat. Use a breath in to pull yourself up and into tabletop pose. So coming onto all fours, just checking in that the wrists are below the shoulders and the knees are below the hips. Fingers are spread nice and wide apart to support your wrists. And then you're pushing yourself away from your mat. So we're not just hanging here in our table. We have 4 strong legs and a nice straight back as our tabletop. Working into some cat and cow. As you inhale, point your tailbone up, drop your belly, bring your chest forward, look up. Exhale, point your tailbone down, round your spine, tuck your chin to your chest and drop your head. Keep going, allowing each inhale to slowly bring you up to cow pose. Each exhale rounding you down to cat. Remember here, each breath is powering the movement, so you're really trying to make the movement last as long as your breath does. You can stay with these cat and cows, or you can come back to tabletop and then just move your hips from side to side or stretch through the sides of your neck. You can also do some scribbling again here, maybe just making circles, moving backwards and forwards. Just trying to uncover any little bits of tension that are stuck around your body and just showing them the exit door. Now we'll make our way into downward dog, so your hands can come towards the front of your mat, still with your fingers spread wide. Curl your toes, lift your knees, and drag your hips up and back. We'll just start by paddling the feet, opening up the backs of your legs. And again here, looking for those sticky spots, and then just asking them to leave your body. Once you've worked on that tension, you might hold your downward dog for a few breaths. So keep a little bend in your knees, point your tailbone up towards the sky as you drag your hips up and back. Then release your head towards your mat, so maybe your ears are in line with your biceps. Keep pushing yourself away from your hands, starting to feel that stretch all through the back of your body. We'll just breathe here, again observing the journey of the breath as it goes in and out. And just noticing again how it feels different in your body in this pose. Don't worry if your heels aren't touching the mat, but just ask them to press down. Take one more big breath in, expanding your entire body. And with your exhale, walk your feet towards your hands. Eventually landing into a standing forward fold, feet hip-width distance apart, knees are still bent, hands hanging low or grabbing opposite elbows, and then head becomes heavy here. Relaxing your neck muscles, loosening up your jaw, and then visiting all of those facial muscles again so your face becomes spacious. Give yourself time again to settle in, and then we're going to hold our standing forward fold for about 2 minutes. Another way to release stress is to let the blood flow down towards the head. And that doesn't always have to mean a headstand or a handstand. You can do poses like this, standing forward fold. And when the blood all pools to the head, sorry, that might not be the most relaxing imagery, but when your blood is in the head, it does have a calming effect on the mind. So drop inwards again, feeling the sensations of this pose, following your breath, and just letting gravity do the work. Take one more full breath in here. Open your mouth to exhale, getting rid of cobwebs. Now tuck your chin to your chest and super slowly roll yourself up, just curling one vertebrae at a time back up, eventually coming to stand on your mat. We'll spend a moment in mountain pose here, letting all the blood flow back down. So feet are nice and firm against the mat, palms can face forward. You can close your eyes or just relax your gaze. Point your tailbone gently down towards the floor as you extend the crown of your head towards the ceiling, creating space in between each vertebrae, dropping your shoulders away from your ears. As you bring your awareness back into your body, you might start to feel yourself swaying slightly from side to side or from front to back. You don't have to resist those movements, just keep sending your breath in to help balance everything out. You might bring your hands to your chest here in prayer position, having your thumbs against your sternum, and then dropping your head towards your heart. Take a moment to thank yourself for showing up, for doing this practice, and let's just celebrate that you're here and that you're doing this. With your next exhale, you can release your hands and open your eyes again. We'll move into a balancing pose. This week we are doing dancer's pose. So as always, don't worry if you fall out of the pose, just come back to wherever you were and just take it one little step at a time. You don't have to go straight for the full version of the pose. So we'll start by lifting up the left leg. So Drop into your right foot, creating that nice strong foundation. You can even lift and spread your toes. So one thing with balancing, if you have a soft yoga mat, it can make it quite difficult. So you could step off onto the floor if you need to for this pose. And now you're finding something to focus your eyes on, something that will help you keep balanced. Connect to your breath. And now keeping a slight bend in your right knee, you can pick your left foot up and catch it with your left hand. So you're gripping your foot from the outside, from the big toe side, and then your thumb might come across the ball of your foot. And it's fine just to stay here like this, working on your balance. If you want to go a little bit deeper, you can lift your right arm up at about a 45-degree angle. Keeping that bend in your right knee, start to kick your left foot back into your left hand. As your arm is pulled back, it will allow your upper body to tilt forward slightly. Keep kicking your left foot back, creating that energy. And just breathe here. Take another full breath in. Exhale, reverse out of the pose, bringing your left foot back down. You can shake out your legs here. Coming into warrior one, step your right foot towards the front of the mat and step your left foot back at a 45-degree angle. Front knee comes over the front ankle. Square your hips towards the short edge of your mat. Now imagine you're trying to pull the front and the back of your mat together using your feet, and you're pressing into the outer edge of your back foot. Because we have our hips square to the mat, you should feel this in your back hip crease. From here, lift your hands up, warrior one. Now, even though your hands are reaching for the ceiling, you're still relaxing your shoulders away from your ears. You're still pulling your feet towards each other, so your legs are working really hard. Now, even though we're doing all this work, focusing on all these different parts of the body, see if you can just let go for a moment and just feel the pose for what it is. Remember, you are a warrior, and this pose is just reminding you of that. With an exhale, transition into warrior two, bringing your arms out wide and shifting your back foot so now it's parallel to the back of your mat. Front knee is still over front ankle, and this front knee might try to tip in here. Avoid that and just ask it to stay nice and straight. Look over your right fingertips and gently pull your shoulder blades together as if you're trying to squish a grape in between them. Pull the front and back of the mat together. Feel that energy that you're creating in your feet and let it travel all the way up through your body. Squeezing your shoulder blades, cinching your waist, so you keep lifting that energy up towards your head. Now flip that front hand, bring your back hand onto your back leg and do a big rainbow back, looking up at your right thumb if you can, and stretch those fingers back, trying to touch the wall behind you. If you can, Shine your chest up towards the sky so you're not collapsing forward. Big breath in to squeeze out any tension from your side body. And as you exhale, bring that front forearm onto your front leg. Reach your left arm up at an angle for side angle pose. There's a straight line between your fingertips and your back foot. Press those fingertips away. Take a big breath in and exhale to reverse. Slowly coming back up. Step that back foot to the front and we'll repeat that little sequence on the opposite side. So first, take a moment again in mountain pose. Feeling the effects of the poses that you've done. And maybe checking if there's a difference within the two sides of your body. When we pause like this, one side of the body is communicating with the other, telling it what to do, what to expect. Let's gradually open the eyes again. Finding dancer pose now, pressing into your left foot, focusing your gaze on one point, and then picking your right foot up into your right hand. Staying here or lifting your left arm up, kicking your right foot into your right hand, slowly tilting forward. Don't lock your bottom knee and pause here. Take a last breath in. Exhale, reverse, making your way back down. Now this time your left foot points towards the front, right foot comes back, 45-degree angle, front knee over front ankle, square your hips to the front, lift your arms up, warrior one. All you're doing here is observing that warrior energy that is within you. With an exhale, open out into warrior two. Back foot now parallel to the back of your mat. Gaze over your left fingertips. Pull your feet towards each other, cinch your waist and squash that grape between your shoulder blades. Flip the front hand, bring your back hand to your back leg, look up at your left thumb and push those fingertips back behind you. Exhale for side angle pose, reaching your right fingertips up and away, finding that right thumb with your eyes if you can. Exhale, reverse, stepping your back foot back to meet the front, and then pausing into mountain pose. When you're ready to open your eyes again, you can come down to sit on your mat with your legs out long in front of you. We'll be practicing head to knee pose now. So we'll be sitting here for a few minutes. If you want to sit up on a cushion or yoga block, you can do that now. Then you're bringing the sole of your right foot up into your left thigh. You can support this knee with a cushion or yoga block if needed in underneath. Then inhale to reach your hands up, stretching your spine. Exhale, hinge at your waist, and then fold forward over this outstretched leg. Your hands can just rest wherever they are drawn to. And then with time, start to encourage your nose down towards your knee. We'll hold here for 2 minutes. So take time to fidget and adjust until you find what works for you. You might start to feel the effects of this pose through your lower back and your hips. So you might just drop your attention into that area. Use your inhale to dislodge any tension and your exhale to get it out of your body. Check in again on your facial muscles and your jaw, making sure everything is soft. Maybe your upper body is dropping a little bit more with each exhale, but don't worry if not. With your next inhale, you can start to push yourself away from the mat, slowly coming back up and switching to the other side. Your next inhale can slowly bring you back up. And once you're there, you might lean back on your hands and do a few windshield wipers, just slowly dropping the knees from side to side. Now we'll rinse that all out with a little vinyasa, so you can make your way to a high plank, or modified here by keeping your knees to the mat. And you're either going to lower yourself straight down or drop your knees, then drop your chest. Inhale to widen your feet, scoop up into extended cobra. On an exhale, drag your hips up and back into downward dog. From here, look at the space to the right side of your right hand, and then you're going to step that right foot forward to that point. Now, if you need to take a few different steps to get there, that's fine, but we're meeting here in lizard pose. So your right foot is on a 45-degree angle with your toes pointing away from you. And then your back knee will determine how deep you go here, so you can either walk it back or walk it forward. Your hands stay with your fingers spread wide in underneath your shoulders, and they can also rest on yoga blocks here to make this pose a little bit easier. Once you feel settled, we'll drop into our lizard pose, holding for a minute. Finding your deep breath, sending it into whatever tightness you feel. Take one more full breath in. Big breath out, blow away any cobwebs. Now transition to pigeon pose by walking that right foot over towards the left side of the mat. Dropping your right knee to the mat and then keeping your hips square here so we're not collapsing over to either side. And just holding here for a few breaths, opening up the outside of your hip here. Now we're going to transition into shoelace pose. So we have two options. To start, you can just sit over onto your right hip. Now, the deepest option would be to take this left foot over and bring it to the outside of the right hip. So we have both our knees bent here. I can sit on my seat bones and my knees are somewhat stacked on top of each other. Now this can be quite intense, so if you're not ready to go there yet, that's absolutely fine. What you'll do first is straighten your right leg, have it out long in front of you, and now bring that left foot across. So now you're in a half shoelace. And as always, sitting up on a cushion or yoga block will be helpful. Wherever you are in the pose, you can wiggle around, find your seat bones pressed into whatever you're sitting on. And then once you're ready, you can just drop into the pose, feel what you're feeling. If you want to go a little bit deeper, you can fold forward, walking your hands away from you and dropping your nose towards your top knee. You might just see how much you can surrender here. I know you're probably feeling that tension within your hips. Try not to fight it, just breathe into it. Maybe each exhale will also help you succumb to gravity a little bit, dropping a little bit closer towards the earth. If you're in your fold, use a breath in to push yourself back up. And from here, we'll take it to a twist, even if you're in your full or half shoelace. So bring your left hand in behind your tailbone, as close as you can get it. And then your left arm props you up like a pillar. Right arm stretches up towards the sky. Inhale to lengthen. And as you exhale, rotate towards the left. Maybe hooking your elbow or just bringing your arm to the outside of this top leg. Each inhale helps you to lengthen, and each exhale helps you to twist. So you might remember from last week, we also hold stress in our stomach region. So here you're twisting it out of your body. Start to make your way back to center, and you can slowly undo everything. Bringing your legs back behind you, finding your high plank. We're gonna rinse it all out again with a little vinyasa. So lower however you do. Inhale for cobra. Exhale, downward dog. Take time in your downward dog to digest everything we've done so far. Now look at that space to the left of your left hand, and in your own time, bring that left foot there. Setting up for lizard. Remember, those left toes will point away from you. Back knee determines how intense this pose will be. Now find your breath and try stay with it for the next 60 seconds. When you're ready, transition into pigeon pose. Your top foot presses into the back of your mat and your front foot stays flexed. And now drop down into that stretchy feeling to the outside of your left hip. One more breath in. Exhale, blow out tension. Now you can sit onto your left hip and come into whichever version of shoelace works best for you. You can have that half or full shoelace. And then wiggle and fidget and find what feels best. And when you're ready, you can just drop down. And again here, coming into a little fold if you want to go a bit deeper. If you're folding, use a breath in to come back up. Bring your right arm in behind you and reach your left arm up. Inhale to stretch your upper body. Exhale, rotate right. And then start to twist from your waist, rib cage, and then maybe your neck. Each inhale lengthens. Each exhale helps you to twist. We'll make our way back to center now and gradually start to undo, setting yourself up for some windshield wipers. And if we accumulated some tension in the hips with those poses, you can use your windshield wipers to smooth it out of the body. And once you've done that, you can pause and then bring yourself down to lie on your mat. Slowly, slowly, just one vertebrae at a time. Coming into Savasana pose now, just briefly letting your body digest everything we've been doing. You might take a full body stretch here, extending your arms up past your head, stepping your feet in beside each other. Stretch your toes away from your fingers. Take a big breath in to oxygenate every single muscle of your body. Keep breathing, keep stretching. And with an exhale, you can release. Have a bend in your knees now and reach your fingertips down towards the back of your heels. Coming into bridge pose. First, press your lower back into your mat so it's flush with the mat. And then keep that new position of your hips tilted up slightly as you lift them up towards the sky. So we're coming into another inversion here, letting all the blood flow towards your brain. So keep your hips high. Try to touch your chest to your chin without moving your head. and use each inhale to expand your belly as much as you can. Only 30 seconds in total, so keep those hips high. Take another big breath in. Now take your right ankle up onto your left thigh, flexing your right foot. You can gently push that right knee away from you, or you can go a little bit deeper by walking your left foot in towards your body, maybe even threading your hands through your legs and coming to hold the inside or the outside of that left knee. Giving your hips one last opportunity to get rid of stress, tension. It's like we're going back now and cleaning up any little bits that we missed. So keep your awareness down there. Keep searching for those sticky spots and then use your breath to get them out. Now we'll release the left foot back to the mat if it's not already there. Keep this figure 4 shape with your legs and drop both of your knees over towards the left. So we're coming into a little twist here. Your right foot might stay on the mat, or on the floor rather, or you can take a little twist into your legs and tuck that right foot in underneath your legs. So really just do what works for you here. Nothing really formal about this pose. We're just creating that gentle twist and opening up through the outside of this right hip. Wherever you are, make sure both of your shoulders are still on the mat. You can look up, or for a deeper twist, you can look over at your right hand. Take another big breath in. Long breath out. And now slowly reverse out of the pose. You might come back to lie in Savasana for a moment, feeling the effects. And now let's repeat. So setting yourself up for your bridge. Taking a few breaths here, last inversion of this class. Now roll your spine slowly back to the earth. When it's there, your left foot comes to the right thigh. Remember to keep it flexed. And then find whatever version of this reclined pigeon pose works for you. And sometimes what felt good on one side doesn't feel so good on the other side. So that's why yoga is really good at keeping us observant. We always have to check in, make sure things are still feeling okay. And then speaking of observing, we're going to sit here with our breath and with these sensations in the hips. And just let those last bits of tension just fizzle away. Your right foot can return to the mat if it's not there already. And now you can drop both feet over to the right. And again here, this foot can stay on the floor, or you can kind of tuck it in underneath your other leg, maybe making a little twist, maybe not. Shoulders stay on the mat, and you can look up or look to the left. And I didn't mention this on the other side, but you can intensify the stretch a bit by bringing your hand onto your top leg and really gently encouraging it down towards the floor, only if it feels nice. Now you're going to take your last super observant breath. So breathe in, fill up every little crevice of your body. Attach your breath to little bits of tension you find, and now exhale to blow it all out. You can undo your pose now, coming back to center. And now you can make whatever little movements you're craving right now, whatever you need to get rid of the poses and to completely calm your body. So you might need to bring your knees up to your chest here. You might want some windshield wipers. Just a little bit of freestyle for a few seconds here. Now we're coming into our final relaxation, so you can grab whatever you need, maybe a blanket or something to keep you warm and cozy. Then coming into Savasana, letting your hands and feet explore until they find a nice place to rest. Have your palms facing up so your shoulders can drop to the mat. Now just let go of everything. Drop your muscles, drop your bones, drop all the waters of your body. Relax your jaw. Relax your facial muscles. Relax your shoulders. And as your body starts to get heavier and heavier, as you're sinking into the earth, You might just imagine a smile and just feel the feeling of a smile. Take that feeling of a smile and let it sit on your heart space. And feel that warm, joyous sensation just flooding across your chest. Now that sensation is traveling through your arms, all the way to your fingertips. And feel that smile traveling down to your hips, relaxing them, making your hips feel happy. Now that smile is traveling down through both of your legs into your feet. And the smile is traveling up to your shoulders, soothing them, making them feel good. And finally, that smiling sensation travels up to your head, relaxing your mind, quietening your thoughts. We'll take the next few minutes to let the body soak up this smile, allowing it to fall into a deep relaxation, and I'll let you know when it's time to come back. You can stay here for even longer, but if you are ready to come back, start to make tiny movements. When you're ready, come to lie on your right side. Resting whatever way you land here. As you're here, thank yourself again for showing up. Really honor and celebrate yourself for doing this practice. And thank your body for being able to get you here, for being able to do everything we've done over the last hour. Trying to keep your awareness as much inward as you can. You can start to slowly pick yourself back up, coming again to find a seat on your mat. And then we'll end this practice just as we started, finding that comfortable sitting position, connecting to your breath, following it in and following it out. With your next exhale, you can open your eyes again. So well done again for doing this practice. Thank you so much for being here and for joining me. If you have questions, please let me know. I'm always happy to help as much as I can. And please let me know what you thought of this class, if you like this style of practice. As always, again, feedback is really welcome, and I'd love to know what your experience is of these videos. So you can always leave a comment below or send me a message, and I will see you again next week. So until then, take care and goodbye.